crowd. I can sense the excitement in the room. It's really exciting to be here. Yeah? You have found yourself in the Owen Theater of Clarksville University for our oral presentation session number 1. My name is Matthew Baldwin. I'll be the moderator tonight. It's my job to introduce our 2 illustrious student presenters. This session is called Rough and Pizza's Ready. And we're going to have to figure out why the organizers of SLAM named it Rough and Pizza's Ready. But I think that the first part of the clue will come very soon. The first presenter, Johannes XIV, hardly needs any introduction. I think it's taken our campus by storm. He combines artistic talent and entrepreneurship, and I think that this project, undertaken with the assistance of our business faculty, and particularly the new entrepreneurship minor, led by James Heinel, it's very exciting. It is called Creating an Automated Robotic Pizza Food Truck, Journey of Idea, Realization, Business Plan Development, Prototyping, and Fundraising. A mouthful, but perhaps to be exceeded by the taste of pizza. Woo, woo.
All right, I'm Johannes XIV. Good morning. I guess we'll go on to the next one. So as many of you know, or have noticed, I'm a lifelong artist, ultimately graduating with my first degree in video game design when I was 20, teaching some courses in video game design after that, and going right back into school for architecture, because I immediately wanted to do real world things. Then leaving that school pretty shortly after that to help some friends start a video game company. On the next one. Working about 2 years unpaid, doing that, the indie game thing. That then brought me to the US Army, where I enlisted myself, got injured, and then from there moved on to starting a nonprofit for jewelry artists, which I then left that to take on a job in doing graphics and technology again, working for some of the big companies like Qualcomm and all that kind of stuff, making tech demos, which that then brought me onto here, Mars Hill, where I have started my psychology and business degree, getting another bachelor's. Some of you have encountered me in your sociology classes with Brett Johnson, lecturing and talking about the future of technology and where we could be going with technology. Some of you have seen my artwork in the Wise and Black Gallery in our cadenza, the one I've edited this year as well, and helped with, and just around campus as I've been putting out my art and whatnot. Ultimately doing this business internship with Professor James Heinel and building on my vision, which all of these things then have kind of merged into producing more and more artwork, founding more little projects and helping people, starting to study robotics engineering while I've been here as well, at Mayland down the road, so kind of going multiple routes. Then, again, bringing all of these things together into this next vision that you're all here to talk about today, which is the 2 companies that I'm now forming, GearFire Pizza Inc. and Waltech LLC. GearFire Pizza is the robotic food truck that makes pizza, and Waltech is the technology company that builds the food trucks. And those 2 entities have now formed over the last several months, and I've gone through the process of registering those and building on that. So that has turned into this vision of a food truck. And I've been spending the last 5 weeks, instead of doing spring break or weekends or holidays, spending a few hundred hours making this 3D demo that we get to watch about where my vision is supposed to go and how it actually could work over the next year or 2 as I start prototyping this. So I've been building and testing out some ideas with using robot arms and various potentially proprietary concepts to make pizza. So these three arms are running through the basic process of over and over again producing pizzas. In this concept, they are producing about 15 pizzas every 6 minutes. And that's, I think, a pretty conservative estimate with how I've been kind of testing out the space and testing out the timing of these pieces. All of this is graphics I've made from scratch over the last few weeks and animated and produced myself to kind of test out this idea and actually prototype it. And you can see they're capable of each producing their own pizza, and they can kind of get in sync, and they're making them as they go, but they also, depending on what orders would come in, they start going out and doing different pizzas. Right now, they're each producing their own pizza. Technically, they could also collaborate on a pizza in between, so they could be producing up to 5 pizzas at the same time. And coordinating that with the truck has its own Internet of Things brain to it, and that coordinates the arms, the conveyor belt, the boxing machines. The actual truck's brain collaborates with all these devices and keeps all these things flowing and coordinated so that the orders just keep going. So we'll go on to the next slide. So that brings to a little bit of our product analysis. So my current conservative estimate at a minimum is producing 30 to 40 pizzas per hour, up to 1 to 5 simultaneously. The maximum estimate I think I could achieve is theoretically up to 150 pizzas per hour with 3 arms. That's on average a 7-minute delivery time per pizza, and the truck that I've built so far can hold enough material to make 300 pizzas before it gets restocked again. But that is also conditional on adding more arms and more fridges, so as you scale up, you exponentially scale up your output ability. So on to the next one. Oh, back one. So our financial break even, the minimum that we would estimate needing to achieve, charging $15 and up for custom pizza orders. We're looking at a minimum break even of selling 50 pizzas per day, which that's the minimum for pizza chains statistically to actually stay in business. So I think that's a reasonable place to target. That would bring in $178,000 annually in pizza, and that's assuming 65% of the year operational, so 35% of that first year is unforeseen problems, troubleshooting and improving this throughout this first year. Hopefully we get to, upwards of 100% yearly operation. That's the benefit of the robots. They don't eat, sleep, they can work 24/7, but this is doing 8 hours a day for 65% of the year, just to keep it conservative at the start. And this is the break even, so the estimate is selling obviously more than 50 a day. Now we can go on to the next one. So the next several steps that I'm looking at right now is I'm currently in my fundraising, going into prototyping, so I've been pooling together with grants and any other kind of creative funding at the moment, whatever we can get, moving into raising about $250,000 over the next couple months, hopefully, and then trying to get to some more larger scale venture capital type funding and needing to raise upwards of $1 to $1.5 million over the next year or so, and that gets us a fully on the street prototype in the next year to 2 years at the most. And that's the prototyping phase. We then get the first truck on the street the minute it's actually working and consistently and reliably. That then gets iterated on and improved and starts making us some money. And from that point, we start exponentially scaling, where once we get one unit working, we're able to reproduce and improve, and it gets cheaper and cheaper to produce future trucks. And then we regionally put those out and start opening up the doors for franchising options to kind of go national with the GearFire pizza brand. And then on to the next one. So what's helping me make all that possible is a local partnership that I'm really excited to be working out with Spark Robotic, a company that just opened up this year right down the road from us behind the baseball fields up here. They're a robotics and technology company, and I've been working closely with them, and they're giving me some space in their facility, and we've negotiated out some deals so that they're going to be helping me with engineering and building the first prototype. And we're going to be developing a lot of that technology together in-house over the next year or two, hopefully. So that's a very exciting kind of next step in this and helping kind of propel that forward along with the fundraising that I'm working on. And then on the next one. So ultimately, that brings us to our last little preview here. Another angle of the production going on. So ultimately, we're going to have windows around this thing because it's also got a fair bit of entertainment value, I think. Seeing these robots produce pizza is going to be interesting. So from this angle along the side, you can see the other side is it's boxing pizzas and putting them into the warming drawers. So I'll actually explain over here slightly from this angle. So it's going to continuously be filling warming drawers where you can come actually get your pizza after you order it. And you see along the bottom where that conveyor belt oven actually brings your pizza along and you get to watch it be cooked. And then it gets boxed on the other side here and put into the warming drawer where you get to scan your receipt or your phone and collect your pizza and go on with your day and watch it do its business. And so a lot of entertaining value hopefully in that, and then lots of other small little business quirks to kind of promote the engagement factor of it. When the robots aren't doing anything, they're going to be engaging with customers, you know, waving at people, whatever, to kind of just be engaging and kind of go from there. So yeah, that I guess brings us to where we can open up for questions, I suppose, and comments or anything like that.
So is this something that's supposed to be like moved and staged somewhere, or is it something that's going to be like moved around?
So this model is like a food truck type, or well, food trailer type. So you would drop this off somewhere, and that gives you the versatility of deploying it around. At the end of the day, if I can cram this into a food truck, I could theoretically put it into other spaces. The same thing could easily be scaled out at an airport or something like that, or at other types of venues that maybe require more permanent. I mean, just take the wheels off, basically. But does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Well, that depends. So hopefully that's an evolving process, the power source for this kind of truck. So the key at the moment is building around existing food truck technology. So I'll be kind of chopping up a food truck. So they use a lot of propane tanks at the moment, and my goal would be to get batteries in there, like the bigger battery type backups. So that's what I mean by evolving as well. So I'm going to start with modifying technology that already exists, and then kind of keep building on that, and hopefully making that more clean and efficient. And the less I have to restock it, both fuel and with ingredients, the better. So that's all part of the process and the evolution of it. Yeah.
The pizza's gonna be cut and sliced?
Yeah, so there is a cut and slicing. It's hard to see in the graphic here, but as it's coming out of the oven, there's a slicer that comes down and slices the pizza before it gets boxed up. Yeah.
Have you thought about the food waste?
About what?
Food waste?
Food waste?
Like making too many pieces?
Sure, I mean, yeah, that'll be an important part of it. So underlying this business is having to make an actual pizza food truck. The robot part is the really fun, extra fancy part, but I have to overcome all the same like spatial hurdles of any kind of pizza food truck that is human operated too. So yeah, food waste is a part of it. I have to do food prep at like a USDA certified facility, that sort of thing. So yeah, those are all some of the hurdles just in the food industry side that I'm going to be going through. Yeah.
Are you going to be having people order online or order out of the truck?
Both. So the idea is having a touch screen for ordering on the side of the truck, but also having an app where you can order and save your favorite orders and whatnot. And so then like you can be notified when it's ready to come get. in the long run, who knows, maybe 10 years from now, there's drones that'll come bring you your pizza or something, you know, and who knows where we can go with it. But in the meantime, an app and the touch screen, I think, is the way to go. And there's a lot of fun, useful, efficient things we can do with that, I think, as well. Yeah.
Is the truck gonna be self-driven?
So this model is a trailer, but I think that's a natural pairing of technology is to eventually have, yeah, self-driving trucks and whatnot. Like all these other technologies that are continuing to evolve, I think naturally find room in this kind of concept to evolve with it as well. Right now it'll be a towable trailer to start with, and then I'd love to go there with it, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Where do you plan on placing your first prototype?
Since I'm mostly doing my first prototype, I'd like to place in this area and then in this region, like hitting like hot spots like big sporting events and whatnot. But ultimately, a lot of my time I'd like to whether it's Mars Hill or like towards Asheville and that kind of stuff, like this area, since I'm going to be building it literally down the road, and like I've started here, like I want to build my industry here, my facility. I want to like hire from these schools that I've been to. Like this is all, I want to be part of that ecosystem and build my facility here and whatnot too. And I think that's a big opportunity and like part of it for me as well, that I think is interesting. So hopefully you'll be seeing the truck around in the next like year or two, 2 years maybe on the street here and stuff. I think that'd be reasonable. And in the meantime, I'll be bringing my prototypes here to show off too. That'll be part of the fun. So at our events, hopefully I'll be bringing whatever thing is making some form of pizza, I'll bring that even if it's not in a truck yet, and set it up or something. I'm sure we'll do some cool stuff. Hopefully, if the school permits us. Yeah.
Can you talk about what problem you're solving for and why a food truck? Is this solving for a labor problem, labor shortage, or efficiency? And what was the driver behind why robotics over here?
Sure. Yeah, it's an interesting and complicated question, like personally and business-wise, I guess. The big thing for me, automation, technology, there's a huge efficiency component in that, and moving the human down the equation, I guess. So I would love to get people out of these hot food trucks all day and dropping them off to have them making money. I see food trucks as a kind of small family industry a lot of times, so I'd love to be able to like boost that where families can drop off this truck and they don't have to spend their human capital on that. Is to me a very important part. But on the business side, it also has to be a sustainable and effective business model, and so I hope to be able to like blow the production out of the water too, where it's like, I don't know if a human pizza food truck can make 150 pizzas in an hour, but mine might be able to do that. And so I think there's a lot of room in that, and I find that exciting as well. Did that answer it? I could go a whole lot deeper in that, but that hopefully answers that reasonably. Yeah.
How do you get people used to robots making pizza? Because I know right now, like AI and robotics kind of is a touchy subject with people.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think there's going to be people that are uncomfortable with robotics and technology. I hope on the one hand that it's interesting and like showy and immersive enough that it's kind of engaging and pulls you in. But also, for the first bit, I do envision somebody being with the truck to, one, it'll probably be me, but maintaining it, making sure at first that anything that goes wrong can be addressed, but also getting people comfortable with it, showing them how it works, and kind of the initial thing, I think, will need some of that. But I also think there's a big opportunity where, I mean, most people I've been talking to, when I say Robot Pizza Food Truck, I haven't even shown these images most of the time, and this is kind of pretty much what most people see. So it's obvious enough, and people are interested in some of this, so hopefully it's engaging enough, and that's what I like to do. Is the simplest thing would be a vending machine, and that's boring and not exciting, and this would be way more engaging to me. So hopefully that kind of bridges the gap a little bit, and yeah, trying to do it in an interesting way. Is that a question about? No, I'm stretching. Yeah.
How long do your arms last?
How long do they last?
Yeah. Like if they were to
That's
go
an
into
interesting
wear
question.
and tear?
Well, they will, yeah. They'll like any kind of equipment, they'll need maintenance. So this is where that's the trade-off costs. Like where with a human, and this is where I see it as a competing cost. So with a human, you're paying for health insurance, you're paying for lots of those types of benefits. You don't pay for that with a robot. Instead, you pay for things like maintenance. You pay for upgrades as technology improves. You invest in that in a different way, like you should be doing with your human employees too. So I think in that sense, I anticipate that that's part of the money that needs to be made to sustain the business is actually maintaining the equipment, and restocking is all part of that. The equipment needs to be inspected. There's small little things. For example, if there's oil in the robot arms, with cooking robot arms, you replace that with cooking oil and vegetable oil instead of grease and engine oil, so that if there's leaks, it's not actually contaminating your food. Little things like that are like steps you have to take to make it food safe and all that kind of stuff. But some of that's been developed, and so I'm benefiting from a lot of other people doing pieces of the technology, and I think I can string a lot of things together and tweak a few things and do something different that nobody's quite done yet. But that's the fundraising part, because I could sit in a garage for the next 10 years and someone else will do it and figure it out. I think in the next year or two I could have it on the street and hire a couple people and make it happen and whatnot, and that's why I'm pushing after the fundraising now too. That's become important. Anything else? Yeah?
Can they different sizes and topping combinations?
Yeah, so topping combinations right out the gate, absolutely. Sizes, at first, it'll probably be one type of crust size, but with the first version of truck, I would like eventually to be able to accommodate different types of crusts, having vegan crusts, having, you could even have one of the arms be a vegan arm, so it's not contaminating. There's options for some of that, depending on where we go with that. But the first one, it'll have different types of, a select amount of ingredients, and it'll have maybe different types of crust that will be the same size. And then eventually we can actually evolve that and offer more and more options. Because that's ultimately one of the benefits of these types of foods, is having a lot of diverse options and the combinations, and that's part of the fun. So I definitely, that's part of what I want to keep scaling towards as well. So it's definitely more than just cheese pizza out the door. That's the guarantee as well. We're doing more than just cheese. Yeah. Sure.
You mentioned one of your slides had the pizza company and there was another company. I wasn't sure. Can you talk more about that other company in terms of, is it the licensing of the robotic technology, kind of where you take it?
Sure. Yeah, that's somewhat kind of naturally. The two-company model has somewhat evolved out of GearFire Pizza has become, the pizza robot truck brand, and the vision of that is to franchise that and that to be its own brand thing that scales. But separately, the need to build these trucks and facilitate that, not just for my GearFire Pizza, but the franchisees, but then also, while I'm developing the robot pizza food truck, if you've got an ice cream truck, a taco truck, or whatever truck, I can automate that for you too. So that's where I needed a neutral other company that can build anybody's food truck. But also, if nobody's hiring me, I can do my own, and I'll do a stir-fry truck or my own taco truck. And so if you don't have me upgrade yours, I'll make my own. But that gives me, I think, the flexibility and that company can explore those patents and leverage those patents in other spaces that GearFire Pizza may not need to do or have the interest in doing. So I think that offers some flexibility and long-term, where I think I'll need to go anyway, so it's kind of naturally gone that way.
We might have time for one last question, and if no one else doesn't have it, I have one. Is there a question?
Sure. Is
Yeah.
the pizza good?
You'll have to tell me when we're making it and bringing it over here. So,
Have you tried it?
are you? What year are you? You might get to taste it.
2024.
Maybe.
All right.
Stick around and you might get to taste some pizza.
Let's go. Big man, thanks for